Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to Granny B's house. Is it a good day where you are? Oh, I hope so. Granny B's having a real good day. And I hope you're remembering to be kind to everyone, like we talk about all the time, about treating other people the same way we hope they'll treat us. Oh, that makes the world such a better place. Have you started school yet where you are? Well, this little guy is ready for school. He has brand new pencils, brand new books. And this is written by Diane DeGroat, and it's about the first day of school. Ready? Tomorrow's the first day of school, Father said. Do you have everything ready? I do, said Gilbert. I do too, said Lola. I'm going to school with Gilbert. Gilbert frowned. No, Lola, he said, I'm going to big kids' school. You're going to preschool. At bedtime, Gilbert checked his new backpack. Inside were his brand new pencils and his brand new notebooks. He was excited about being in first grade. Lola had a new backpack too. Inside was her stuffed rabbit. She wasn't excited. Gilbert said, Preschool is fun, Lola. Mrs. Duck is nice. Lola sighed. I'll go, she said, but I won't like it. The next morning, Gilbert walked to school with his friend Patty and her mother. I hope Mrs. Bird is nice, Patty said. Gilbert stopped walking and said, Uh-oh, what if she's not? Patty pulled his arm. Then we better walk fast. If we're late, maybe she'll send us to the principal. Ooh, he looks mean, said Gilbert. Let's walk very, very fast. When they got to school, Patty's mother introduced them. The very tall teacher bent down. Hello, Patty. Hello, Gilbert, she said, smiling. Please leave your things in your cubbies, then go sit on the carpet. Patty hugged her mother goodbye. Gilbert wished that his mother was there to hug too. Gilbert found a cubbyhole with his name and his photograph on it. He looked at the photographs on the other cubbies. He didn't know anyone except Patty. Patty sat down next to a girl named Margaret, and Gilbert sat next to Patty. Patty talked and laughed with Margaret until Mrs. Bird turned the lights off and on. Their kindergarten teacher never turned the lights off and on. Everyone suddenly grew quiet. Good morning and welcome to first grade, Mrs. Bird said. A boy named Philip held up a big fat book and said, I know how to read. Mrs. Bird smiled and said, Thank you for sharing, Philip. This year we will all learn how to read. Now everyone, please take your seats. Gilbert was worried. He couldn't read the kind of book Philip could. Gilbert took the desk next to Patty's. Suddenly a big kid said, Can't you read? He pointed to the name taped on the front of the desk. It says Lewis. That spells Lewis. Gilbert turned red. He didn't know there were names on the desks. He quickly got up and found a desk that said Gilbert. A boy was already sitting there. The boy turned red and moved to the desk that said Frank. Mrs. Bird handed out spelling books and reading books and special paper to write on. Gilbert could see that first grade was going to be hard. At snack time, Lewis shouted, Oh boy, chocolate cookies! Mrs. Bird turned to him and said, We don't shout in class, Lewis. That's a rule in first grade. She wrote on the chalkboard, Rules number 1, use your quiet voice. Then she asked, What are some of the other rules we should follow? Patty raised her hand and said, We should say please and thank you. Mrs. Bird wrote it on the board. Gilbert knew that rule and wished he had said it first. Mrs. Bird listed all the rules they could think of until Gilbert finally added, "You should always sit at the right desk." Here's the rules. Use your quiet voice. Say please and thank you. Keep your desk tidy. Cover your mouth when you sneeze. And number 5 says, do not pick your nose, I think. Number 6 says, do not push. At lunchtime, Mrs. Bird brought her class to the cafeteria. Gilbert had never eaten in the cafeteria with the big kids before. He looked for Patty, but she was already sitting next to Margaret. There was an empty seat next to Louis, but Gilbert did not want to sit there. He finally sat by himself. He wasn't hungry, but if he didn't eat his lunch, maybe he would get sent to the principal. As he started eating, Mrs. Bird walked toward him. "Oh, here's a seat," she said to the boy named Frank. Frank sat down next to Gilbert, and Gilbert saw that he had the exact same Martian space pilot lunchbox. At recess, Frank and Gilbert climbed all the way to the top of the climbing fort. Philip was a good reader, but he was not a good climber. When he tried to go up the ladder, he kept tripping on his big feet. After recess, they painted pictures to go into the rule book. Louis was a good climber, but he was not a very good painter. He spilled green paint all over his desk. He yelled, "Ah!" forgetting about rule number 1, not to shout in class. After they cleaned up, it was quiet time. Gilbert thought that quiet time meant nap time, like in kindergarten, but it really meant that everyone could pick out a book to read alone. Gilbert picked a Frog and Toad book and brought it to the beanbag chair. Everyone was very quiet, especially Louis. He had fallen asleep reading Goodnight Moon. When the bell rang at the end of the day, Gilbert wasn't ready to go home. He was still reading Frog and Toad Are Friends. When his mother came to pick him up, Philip was helping him with the words he didn't know. "I know how to read," Gilbert announced proudly. "Take the book home, Gilbert," Mrs. Bird said. "See if you can finish it." "I have homework too," Lola said to Mrs. Bird. "I have to write my name 10 times. School is very hard." On the way home, Patty and Gilbert agreed that Mrs. Bird was very nice. Then Gilbert asked his sister, "Did you like Mrs. Duck, Lola?" "Yes," said Lola, "and I like my new friend. His name is Sam." "I made a new friend too," Gilbert said, "and so did Patty." Patty said, "No, I didn't. Margaret is just my friend from dance class. She's an old friend, just like you, Gilbert." "Oh," Gilbert said. He was glad he was still Patty's old friend. When they got home, Lola got a pencil and paper. She wrote her name 10 times. "I can read," she said to Gilbert. Then she read, "Lola, Lola, 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 Lola." "I can read too," Gilbert said. He read Frog and Toad Are Friends to Lola. He guessed at the words that he didn't know, but Lola said he was a good reader, just like Mrs. Duck. After dinner, they went out for ice cream to celebrate the first day of school. When they walked into the ice cream shop, Gilbert said, "Look, there's my friend Frank." Lola said, "There's my friend Sam." Father said, "And there's Mr. Pug, the principal." Lola and Sam ate strawberry ice cream, and Gilbert and Frank ate chocolate. Mr. Pug had pistachio ice cream with sprinkles on top, and Gilbert knew that, as a rule, anyone who liked sprinkles on their ice cream had to be a very nice person. Wow, I hope your first days of school are just as good as Gilbert's. It's nice to make new friends and have new supplies to use when you're reading and writing and learning new things. And I hope you'll pick up books to read. I hope you'll learn to read fun books and books that are teaching you things, like being kind to those people around you. So you know that Granny B loves you, and you know Granny B likes to read books. So I hope you do too, and I hope you'll come back again so Granny B can read you another story. Okay? Bye-bye.